So hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I know you're like, Chilo, what is going on with your background today? Honestly speaking, this is one of those videos that I was so sure I was going to film outdoors, just because one, a girl is loving nature more, and secondly, I didn't want to keep procrastinating doing the video, waiting for the perfect time on a weekend where I can film the video, and then I will keep procrastinating and probably never do the video again. So I decided, you know what, today, no excuses, I'm going to film this video. So just in case you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Chioma, aka Chilo. I'm a Nigerian who used to study and live in Japan, but recently myself and my husband got the Canadian permanent residency through the Federal Skilled Worker Route Express Entry, and so I'm a, I don't know if the word is new immigrant, but yes, I newly relocated to Canada, and that's basically what the crux of this video is about. So I told you guys on my community post here on YouTube to send in your questions as it regards, you know, immigration, what happened in the process. And that was because I remember that for every video I dropped, whether vlogs, whether sit down videos, there were always questions in the comment section, and I figured, you know what, it's better I just gather all the questions and shoot it once and for all. And that's also because I'm being very careful not to venture and change my channel into an immigration niche. So I wanted to just gather everything and do it once and for all. So this is also a subtle saying of, guys, I'm not trying to be an immigration expert. I am not an immigration expert. I'm just a girl who, you know, did the process by herself, myself and my husband, and I promised myself while on the process, because of how the process was, that I was going to share as much as possible to my subscribers. So yeah, and this is one of the reasons why you have to be subscribed, turn on your notification, and follow me here on YouTube, so that when I make posts like this where I open the floor for you to ask questions, you are not taken unawares, and you can also drop your questions. So without much further ado, let's get, I think the sun reflection is everywhere. But guys, today is not about seeing my face. Have you seen my face enough? Okay, today is not about seeing my face. Today is more about the video and the answers to the questions you guys sent in. So I'm going to go straight into it. I have a screenshot of most of your questions. Now, aside the questions that some of you dropped on the community post, I still screenshotted questions from previous times that I said some of you were dropping on my old videos, so that as much as possible, I always see questions as, if one person have that question, then there are more people that need answers to that questions out there. And the first question says, thank you for the opportunity. First to comment, you have covered about your IELTS. I'm just wondering how one can find out which professions are high in demand in order to enable them to be picked. I reckon that not every professional will be given ITA, right? Okay, so that's the first question. The second part is if you can throw more light on how to apply for jobs to be employed in Canada. I know many recruiters want people with Canadian experience. So I'll answer the second question first. Actually, guys, it's not news that so many people, you know, want people with Canadian work experience. Well, as you guys already know here on this channel, I did not have Canadian work experience. I was fresh from Japan. I even started applying for jobs in Japan, right? So I didn't have Canadian work experience. But what I'm going to say is that to throw more light on jobs and being employed in Canada, guys, I have a whole video that I'm going to, you know, put out for that, because I feel like if I want to summarize it, I might not say everything. And honestly speaking, I feel like that video is one video that I want to like put my heart and soul and put it out there, because I know the struggles I also faced when I was job hunting. So that's a whole video and it will come out soon, right? And the first question is how to find professions that are high in demand. Honestly, guys, being honest, I don't think chemist is a high in demand job, if that makes any sense. It might be, but let's just say I did not check for high in demand job. Now the truth is, when it comes to express entry, especially like the Federal Skilled Worker route, it's not about demand in as in job in demand. Now there, if you know how the Canadian permanent residency thing works, you know that there are so many routes, like there are so many routes out there now. So there's a route for people maybe with high in demand jobs, there's a route for maybe provincial, there's a route. Now when it comes to the federal skilled worker route, you just have to prove that you have skills, like you have maybe, for example, even if you studied, for me, I studied chemistry, which I don't know if it's a high in demand job. You just have to prove that you're qualified, you have years of experience. So it's a point system. Everything adds up to you getting a point. And when you get a point, if they draw cuts that point, you are caught. So it's not really a high in demand. It's just you have to be able to have maybe work experience that shows that you are an experienced, skilled person that is beneficial to the Canadian workforce. So I did not check high in demand or work experience. I didn't check all those things. But if you are looking at, you know, doing that or checking that route or taking a route that has to do with that, I feel like there are so many resources on Canada, on immigration and those things here on the internet, and you might possibly see them. But personally, I didn't do that. I just evaluated my skills, made sure I had things to prove that I was skilled in chemistry, years of experience, reference letter, and so on and so forth. This one says, I'm currently in the UK with my family and want to move to Canada as permanent resident. Can you do a video on how to apply for provincial nomination, the processing time and all, because there's not a lot of videos on YouTube related to that? And if possible, can you bring someone on your channel who applied for provincial nomination from any part of the world to throw more light? I'll truly appreciate it. Now, honestly, I feel like if at all you will see a video on provincial nomination on this channel, I'll be tilting more towards your second suggestion than the first suggestion, which is if I see someone who came through provincial nomination and who is willing to do a video, like to sit down here and share his or her experience, then good and fine, I'll do that. But if you've been following me here, this is not about Canada. Right from when I was, you know, studying in Japan, living in Japan, you will always hear me say I would never do a video or sit down and talk authoritatively on something I have not passed through, because I don't want to unintentionally mislead anybody. And this is social media, this is internet age. I don't want to wake up and get dragged for just innocently wanting to help. But honestly speaking, I did not do provincial. I did not start the process. I don't know so much about provincial nomination, so I'm not in the best place to do a video on that. But what I can say is, if I see someone, good and fine, definitely I would invite the person to do a video with me. Do you need a master's or PhD degree to qualify for the express entry process? Now, you do not need a master's and PhD. I have seen people here on YouTube that got it through BSc, or they had, I think, only BSc, but that was maybe back then when the point was low, that had only BSc, maybe had years of work experience or something. Now, it's not compulsory, but it's advantageous in the sense that, like I explained in the other detailed process, it's a point system, meaning you bring points from education, you bring points from language, you bring points from work experience, you bring points. Everything adds up to getting a score that they call CRS score, that you enter the pool. And with anything point system, if you've written JAM before, aptitude test, you know that even 1 point could put you on the edge or a competitive edge. So it's not compulsory, but it's very advantageous because it will help improve your points. So typical example is education might have a maximum point of 50. Now, someone with BSc might get 25 points from, this is an example, I can't remember the exact points now. Someone with BSc might have 25 points from that section, but someone with PhD might get the maximum 50 points. Now, that extra 25 points, we cannot deny that is going to give that person like more boost in the CRS score. I can imagine people who miss being invited just because of 1 mark. So every point counts. Now, it's not compulsory once again, but it just helps, if that makes any sense. But once again, guys, this is not me doing PR or advert for Omobi's blog. I'm going to put that blog once again in the description box of this video. I genuinely feel like that blog is written step by step, and it will give you more context as to how the point system works and why, you know, the more degree you have, the more points you might get. So that's for this one. Someone says, kindly make a video on opportunities for people with chemistry background. Does graduate research experience count? Most people tend to focus on med lab tech and technologies and care jobs. Once again, guys, I'm going to post a video very soon on how I applied for jobs, everything I did, see I feel I did. I'm not an expert once again, but I promised myself I will share it because I also did not see so much videos on things like that. And does graduate research experience count? Yes, I would say it did count for me. So while I was a graduate researcher, I was also a research assistant in my university, so it has a NOC code, so it does count, because I mean, at the end of the day, all those things that you're doing is actual practical. You're not just being taught in a classroom, right? Especially for we that are chemists. So yeah, I think it did count. It actually did count for me. So that person says it is supposed to be, as regards proof of fund, it is supposed to be in my account. Is it supposed to be in my account 6 months before entering the pool, or I can deposit it while waiting for ITA, or after ITA, seeing as the whole process of visa takes a while? Honestly, guys, this whole proof of fund thing is one of the things that I don't know if I can confidently speak on, because we didn't have to do the whole put it. I have watched videos of people who said, oh, keep it for 6 months. I have watched videos of people who said, oh, even if it is not 6 months. I've watched videos of people who said they got deed from their parent or something. Now, I really don't know if there is a fast rule to this, because for us, we didn't have to do put and remove. It's something, like I said in that video, we've actively started talking about this relocation since 2019. So when it comes to planning, it was both, we did, as in we were already planning about it financially, emotionally, degree wise, academically, like on our ends, to try and boost our points. So we did not have to do remove, put, keep, like it was just there, right? Yeah, you get what I'm saying? It was just there. But once again, guys, I think Omo B actually, like the blog I referred you guys, so I think she actually expatiated on proof of funds. I think she did. But yes, I have heard people say keep for 6 months, keep for less than 6 months, remove it, get from parents, get a letter. There's so many things out there on the internet as it regards proof of funds. But for us, we didn't have to do any of that, because we had already started planning about this and talking about this since 2019. So like those plans were already there. Next question says, hi doc, as a chemistry master's graduate, how can I navigate getting a job offer? Any skills you will advise? Off the top of my head, I can't sit down and talk about skills, because one, sometimes the skill set might vary depending on your area of specialty. My area of specialty was bioanalytical chemistry, and I'm imagining that someone who did computational chemistry might have a different skill set, right? But I have a video, and I think it will really benefit you or any other person who is a chemistry graduate, because of course, because I'm a chemist, most of the things I said in that video had to do with chemistry, had to do with skill set, had to do with the different aspects of chemistry that I pitched myself for. So I think that video will be very, very helpful. But yes, I think if you are an analytical chemist, for example, let me just give you one example. You can't talk about being an analytical chemist without having skills like UVVs, AAS, NMR, ESIMS, or any mass spec, HPLC, and all those kind of instrumentation skills. So I think it also depends on your area of specialty strongly, and I don't know if it cuts across every area of chemists or chemistry, something like that. But yeah, please look out for that video. I think it will be very beneficial to you, especially who has a chemistry master's degree. Can you make a video on PNP nominations and their criteria? I think I have already answered these. Now this person says, did you submit your birthday certificate at any time to IRCC? Because I lost my baptism card in uni. How did you prove the age you claim you are in the express entry? If yes, how can someone without birth certificates prove? I love your smiles. Thank you. Honestly, I don't know. Did I submit birth certificate? I know, that in the forms you fill your age, because age is also a point, like people less than 30 get maximum point. People from above 30 start to lose 4 points or so. But I can't remember if I proved my age with birth certificate. If I remember, I'll put it on the screen. But I think one thing with age, it's hard to lie about your age and do it very effortless, because your degree has it, your all the things they're adding has your year of birth. So if it's not consistent, of course it will raise an eyebrow, right? But then if at all I had to prove age, then definitely it will be birth cert, and I think I have my birth cert. I don't know if I submitted it though, but if you've misplaced your birth cert, I think you can get it from National Population Commission, I don't know. But when I had the fire incident in uni, part of the things that burnt in the fire were my documents. So I think the birth cert I have is a new birth cert I had to apply. So our advice is not just for Canada, permanent residency or anything. It's a document you should always have. There's actually this commission or body that is responsible for issuing birth cert. So I think you can apply, but I can't remember if I submitted birth cert or not. It's not related to PR. Please, can you explain how you got your job before getting into Canada? Did your employer know that you weren't in the country? Did Canadian work experience matter? Did you have to do any certification before applying? And how many months to your travel dates did you start applying from? And this is a lot of questions in one, but I'm going to take it now. Explain how you got a job. Once again, guys, a video about that, a comprehensive video, would be uploaded soon. Did your employer know that you weren't in the country? Yes, they knew. But honestly, my resume did not really look like someone that was outside Canada. So it gave me the leg at the footstep, like at the door. And then, but I think the only thing that sold me out is that most of my experiences were outside Canada. So they were always confused, and sometimes they had to call to be sure, like, are you in Canada? Are you out of Canada? So yeah, that video is going to touch on how my resume was set up in a way that at least gave them an opportunity to give me a listening ear. So yeah, but yes, my employer knew that I was out of the country. Did Canadian work experience matter? Honestly, all the interviews I did not have anybody outrightly tell me that you don't have Canadian work experience. Now, I know that it's a very popular thing that is said here on YouTube, and I don't dispute that it's a thing, or it might be a thing. But I honestly did not have any recruiter tell me to my face that, oh, you don't have Canadian work experience, so we can't take you. If I thought there was any issue that some of them had with me, was that I was not currently on ground to start working. I think I lost 2 jobs. I lost 2 job offers or so, because they wanted me to start ASAP, and I kept saying that our flight was for first quarter of this year. And then the last part of it said, did you have any certifications before applying? I did not. I think that's the good thing about chemistry. As long as you're trained, you have your degree, I think we don't need certifications, unlike those in the medical field that have to now take another certification. Now, I did not have. This does not mean that if you have the opportunity to take some certification courses, you shouldn't do it. For example, of my goals in at least my first year of work is to take some certification courses, so that it puts me on an edge, a competitive edge, and it's something that my husband has also been like advising me and encouraging me to do. So if you have the opportunity to take certification courses, please do. It might open you up to more opportunities or higher positions. But personally, I did not take certifications. The only like certifications per se I had was my master's, my PhD, and my years of experience working in the lab. And how many months to your travel date did you start applying? Guys, let me sit down well. Because of how people talked about this whole getting a job and all, I started very early. I know my videos did not do justice to that part, because guys, when you're in the middle of applying for a job, the last thing on my mind honestly was videos, right? But I started applying. I had 2 badge, like 2 times that I applied. So I would say the first badge I applied was about 9 months before landing. I think that was in my final semester after we got our ITA. And then the second badge or second cohort of my application would be how many months before travel date? 4 months before travel date, after we got our COPR. So I would say 6 to 4 months before travel day. For me especially, my target was to get a job before landing Canada, and my target was to start testing the waters on time, because when you give it time, then you can know something is wrong, maybe talk with someone or something. So yeah, I actually did start on time, and if you have the luxury of time, I would advise the same, so that at least you can start to test the waters and know, are you getting callbacks, are you getting interviews, does your resume need more tweaking, does your interview skills need more tweaking. My question is not related to Canadian permanent residency, but it's about Japan. Remember the video you promised us on why you and hubby were sent back from the airport the first time? I want to remind you, since you have forgot. I did not forget that video, but yeah, this person, the video is already up on the channel. It's the video I titled Relocation Dilemma. I did not forget, honestly. If I'm being honest, I only contemplated releasing the video or not. The video was already shut down, but I think myself and my husband, we were trying to agree and decide if the video was going to air or not. And that's because, guys, social media, my husband is my second step verification with my videos, social media. He's very, very economic and socially aware of times. So I think we both had to agree, because we didn't want all these long story short, we were not sure if the video should go up or not, but finally it's up, and that's because I felt it strongly that the video needed to go up. And so yeah, you can check it out, why we were sent back. It's titled Relocation Dilemma. Someone said, seeing someone get a job related to chemistry as against Chem Jobs, the interview part, will you be doing a video about tailoring resume and experience with your graduate studies background? I have been looking for videos from a chemist. Me, you, we are the same. I was looking for videos of, like chemists, and I don't think I saw, but I definitely get what you're trying to say. Yes, I will be posting a video about my job search, everything I did. I get what this person is saying when she means as against care jobs. It's not like care jobs are bad, but I think people on the internet almost make it look like that's the only job you could start with as a new immigrant. It's not the only job. You can actually get a job in any other field, not just chemistry. But I think my advice will always be start on time, so that you're not crunched for time. So this one says, how can I get the CV you used in applying for jobs to Canada while you were in Japan? Guys, a video on jobs will go up, but I don't know if you get that sharing my CV is like sharing a chunk of my private information. We'll share a video. In that video, I'll walk you through the CV. I'll open my laptop. I will talk about my resume very well, but like to actually attach my CV, guys, that's a lot of private information there, and I don't know if that's what I should be doing on the internet for now. Someone says, can I apply as a barber? Thanks for the detailed video. I really don't know the jobs that are in demand or not in demand. What you can do is you can check in the NOC code if there is a NOC code for barbers. There might be, I'm not sure, but off the top of my head, I really don't know all the jobs, all the professions in demand. Once again, guys, I'm going to put that blog. I feel like with that blog, she attached so many clickable links that will direct you to the IRCC landing page for you to check NOC code and all those kind of things. God bless you abundantly. Nice video. My daughter is 34 years this September and still single. She had her master's in the UK last year and still in the UK. Can she apply, or is there age limits for the entry? Honestly, this question is similar to the question where someone asked me about must you apply with master's or PhD. There's really no age limit. There's no age barrier. There's no marital status barrier. Everything just helps add more points. Doesn't mean that you cannot maximize your points from other areas. Now 34 years might actually not get the maximum points from the age section, but who knows, she might get the maximum point from job experience, from other things. I will always say never say never. It's a point system. Everything just adds up. Now anything less than 30, you get the maximum points from the age section, but everything from 30, any age from 30, or is it more than 30, you lose, I think, about 4 points. Right now, doesn't mean that you are not qualified to apply. They don't disqualify you based on age, based on marital status, based on job. No, there's no disqualification per se, but the important thing is you need a high CRS score for you to be caught and qualified. So anybody can enter the pool without masters, without PhD, at 40. There's really no limit. We are just talking about ways you can improve your points. And of course, if you don't have the maximum point for age, who knows, you check the CRS calculator, put age and every other thing, and see what your tentative score is. It might not be so bad, who knows. Did you and your husband enter the pool as chemists with your master's degree? How do I find out professions that are well in demand? Is there a list? I look forward to your response. First question is, did you and your husband enter the pool as chemists? Now, once again, guys, maybe if you're new on this channel, I always tell people that I am the YouTuber, not my husband. My husband is not a secret, but his details I'll rather keep private. So I'm going to answer most of these videos centered on me, not on my husband. So yes, I entered the pool as a chemist, but my NOC code was research assistant. That was the NOC code I use. Now, it doesn't, I think this NOC code thing, people confuse it. I feel like it doesn't matter the NOC code you use to enter the pool. It doesn't limit, it doesn't mean that you must work as a research assistant. The only thing is, enter with a NOC code that you have years of experience, because those are the things that are going to count for your point system. So yes, even as a research assistant, I was a chemist because most of the duties. Now, if you check the NOC code for research assistants, check all those duties under there. Those are the duties that IRCC would be looking at to confirm if is what you did at your place of work or what you're claiming, right? So for me, I entered with research assistant. I think the NOC code is four what? I can't really remember the number. If I remember it, I'll put it on the screen. But yes, I entered with research assistant as a chemist. With my master's degree. Her next question, yes, I actually entered with my master's degree because at the time we were applying, I had not completed my PhD. And usually with WES, it's not like it's compulsory or you cannot apply with a degree in view, because I think I've seen someone on their website say you can apply with a degree in view, but I would rather a degree in view, I feel like it was going to be complicated. So I would rather evaluate my highest degree, and at that time my highest degree was actually my master's degree. So I did not use my PhD. How do you find out professions that are well in demand? I already answered this question. So this one says, did you apply as married couple or separately? If yes, that means it's important for couples to have court marriage to be recognized. Yes, guys, if you followed my vlogs, the detailed one, you keep hearing me say we waited till we got married so we can do it together. We applied as a couple. We did 3 weddings. We actually did our white, our trad, and our court wedding in 2022. Of course, I did not post my court wedding, so I think some people did not know that I did court wedding. This does not mean that, see guys, when it comes to this marriage certificate thing, I think I have made a comment about this previously when I did a video with Akuna, when she talked about bringing her husband and proving the marriage. I feel like as long as you have a recognizable certificate that proves that both of you are married, it doesn't matter whether it's court or it's from church. Now, there are actually some churches that give you government, like the certificate is from the government. So if you wedded in that kind of church, you might not need, quote and unquote, to still do a court wedding, or you might not need a court. For example, I'm not sure of this, but I heard that most Orthodox churches, by Orthodox churches you have Catholic, Anglican, but I heard that most Orthodox churches actually give you a government recognizable certificate. Now, I got married in Anglican, and to be honest, I feel like even if we did not do court wedding, we might actually have still been able to use our white wedding certificate. But this is not applicable to every church wedding. So I will always tell people, ask the people that are wedding you or your church, ask them if your certificate can be used in a legal setting or whatever. Now, I don't know for people who did only traditional wedding, I think those people most times have to still do maybe court wedding just for legalization, for a certificate that you can show. But yes, depending on the church you get married in, you might get a certificate that can stand even as a legal document, or you might not get, you might just get like a church certificate, so you might still need to do court. But for us, we had two options, we had two choices. We could either use the white wedding certificate, because Anglican, our own was actually like, I don't know whether it's all Anglican parishes, but the one we got actually had a government number, like it was very, very government binding. So we could either use that one or we could use courts. So yeah, so I think that's answer. But yes, we entered as a couple. Do I need WES for express entry too, or it's for only academic purposes? Yes, you need WES. WES is just like, it evaluates your education, because especially for people who studied outside Canada, they need to be sure that what you call masters is really like masters in Canada, because masters is giving you extra point at B. So they need to be sure that you're not just calling anything masters or calling anything BSc or calling anything PhD, right? So you need to evaluate it. It's not just for academic purposes, but even for express entry. I start creating the profile while I wait for IELTS result. Yes, you can. You know, for us, I know why this question might have come up. For us, I told you guys that we waited till we had everything before we created the profile, because we wanted to enter, boom, we wanted to enter strong. But that does not mean that you cannot create your profile and, you know, be waiting for something. Some people stay in the pool and start maximizing their points. I know I've heard people who were already in the pool when they started writing French, started writing other things to keep pushing up their point. Because honestly, with this draw system, you never can tell what they will cut tomorrow. And the worst emotion you will need is an emotion of regret. Maybe your score with the CRS calculator was already telling you are on 300, but because you were waiting to enter with IELTS, you did not enter. You now wake up tomorrow and hear that IRCC cut 300. You will now be regretting. So yes, you can enter the pool. You don't have to wait to have everything like we did. It's not a standard. This question says, congratulations, thank you, I'm happy for you. Help us with resume templates for those of us job hunting. I have talked about this. And since you came in, next question says, since you came in as a PR holder, why can't your husband stay back? I feel like this question, I have had people insinuate it in different ways, either maybe because of how that video was phrased or how I didn't want to dwell so much on why he was going back. People have that notion that my husband is not a PR holder and I have to be the one to file for him. It's not a bad thing. If that was our context, definitely just know that by now I could have been filing, but that's not our context. If you watched our vlogs, you followed the sit down video on the detailed process, you will know and you will hear me say it over and over again. We, like I kept using we, our PR cards, our this. So we both applied for the whole thing. We applied as a family. So my husband is actually a PR holder. He doesn't need me. I'm not supposed to file. He doesn't need me to come into Canada. Like I said in that video that I talked about sad goodbye or hard goodbye, he has things that he's running in Japan. So at the moment, our home is set up in a way that we will be shuttling both countries till he's permanently done, close that chapter, and then we will permanently base in Canada. So that he's not here has nothing to do with the fact that he's not a PR holder. It just has everything to do with our personal setup and personal reasons, right? What questions were you asked at the port of entry? I don't think we were really asked any gang questions. It was just basic, oh, where are you coming from? And maybe also because we landed late. We landed Toronto airport late. Maybe that was why. Where are you coming from? I think they were also very like, oh, Japan. Like everybody that hears that we came from Japan always had that whole so many curiosity. Oh my God, I've heard about Japan. I want to visit. You know, so that always takes us, you know, into a conversation mood with most immigration experts throughout this journey. But yeah, just where are you coming from? But there was really no question that should make you lose your sleep. This one says, welcome to Canada. How does it feel to be in Canada? What's your perception? This video, guys, best believe if you shall allow me land 1 year in Canada, I'm going to sit down and do perception, reality, expectation, Japan versus Canada. But for now, guys, I'm being very careful not to give any impression or say anything yet, because it's still very one-sided. I mean, you cannot compare my Japan and Canada experience yet, because I mean, Japan was almost 6 years, Canada is less than a year. And this person says, is it pilot program, my dear? No, it's not. It's the Federal Skilled Worker Express Entry route. I don't know much about the pilot program, but I think it's a different route. This one asks, is it possible to get permanent residence before you apply for a job? Yes, it is. Of course, there are people who get a job and then they add that. So many things add to your point. So we didn't get points for job in Canada yet, because at the time neither of us had gotten a job offer in Canada. So yes, you can actually enter this pool point system, everything, without a job, and then get the permanent. The truth is, when you get permanent residency, I think it puts you on an urge to get a job, because most recruiters that are weary about sponsorship, when they see that you're a permanent resident, they are more inclined to want to reach out, especially if you have a good experience and good skill sets that they are looking for. So yeah, it is possible to get permanent, to get PR before you start applying for job. Doesn't mean there are not people who get a job and then apply for PR. It will also like add to their points, but then it is possible. And this person says, how many months did it take West to evaluate your documents? It took me just about a month. I think just about a month. And keep in mind, that's because my master's degree, my master's was done in Japan, so my documents were going from Japan. But my husband's master's was done in Nigeria, so I think for him it took him more than a month. And what were your IELTS scores? My IELTS score was total of cumulative of 8.5, but in each section I maxed. I don't know if it makes sense. Now if you go to the CRS calculator, you would see that listening has, maybe it has a band that will give you the maximum from listening. So they don't just grade you based on your cumulative for the points, they grade you based on each section for the points. So for example, listening might be 7 to 9 to get the maximum from listening, I maxed for listening. Reading might be 8 to 9, I maxed for reading. Writing might be this, so I maxed for each section to get the point. By maxed, I mean the points for each section for the CRS calculator I maxed. So even though 8.5 is not the maximum cumulative for each, it doesn't really matter if your score is not 8.5. That's what I'm just trying to say. You should just target to max each section so that you can get the maximum points from each section, because once again, like I explained, it's a CRS, is a point system, and you just want to improve your points as much as possible. What was your NOC code? My NOC code was research assistant for something or so. I'll confirm and put it on the screen, but yeah, that was my NOC code. Please, was it only your master's that you submitted, or your bachelor's was required? It was just my master's. So the thing is, you can evaluate your highest degree only, because I feel like how they imagine it is that for you to have masters, you must have done BSc, something in that line. For you to have PhD, you must have done BSc and masters, something in that line. So you can actually evaluate your highest degree. So for me, at the point like I explained previously, my highest degree was masters, and so I evaluated just my masters. Okay, so guys, I think that is all the questions I have so far. And I am so happy that I am finally done with this video. I really do hope that this video is helpful, educative, and I hope that it has answered as much questions as possible. Once again, guys, please, this is not a promotional video, but I recommend you also read Omobi's blog. It's very detailed, it's written, so you can always refer to it in your process, and she has so many clickable links that would take you to the IRCC landing page for the different steps, whether it's proof of fund, whether it's CRS calculator, whether it's WES. So that's what I'm just going to advise. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm always excited to do videos like this, because I feel like instead of me to just do a video and assume is what you want to watch, when you guys ask the questions, it feels like I am conversing and having an interaction with you guys. Thank you guys once again for watching. See you next time on Chilotalks. Bye for now, guys.